I think one of my strongest asset is having the ability to enjoy the creative contributions that my crew bring to production design. No single person can achieve any of this alone.
This is Thier of the Independent Film School interviewing filmmakers whose work premiered at the Toronto International Film Festival. Links below this video to join us for the many free trainings that we offer. Welcome. We have here Ra Vincent, production designer on Next Goal Wins by Taika Waititi. And he's tuning in from a location scout working on the next Taika Waititi film. Thank you so much for joining us. Big fan of this film, all of Taika's films, and it's so cool to meet one of his key people who create these amazing films. For our viewers, if you're not familiar, Ra Vincent has an Oscar nomination for his production design work on Jojo Rabbit, which is one of my favorite films of all time, like through history. And I believe also The Hobbit, where you were a set decorator, there was also an Oscar nomination for that.
That's right, Nila.
So will you tell us what you love about Next Goal Wins? What do you love about that film?
Well, there's not that many opportunities you get to make a film for the sake of making a film. And Next Goal Wins was exactly that. We set out to make something enjoyable and entertaining for people, not to throw any giant struggles or great human endeavors or anything that was going to challenge an audience too much, but just to kind of allow people to be transformed in a heartfelt manner, to be able to be entertained and kind of taken on a bit of a joyous journey. And often we mistake filmmaking for needing to, do something significant about the human condition and say something important to the world. But really, through Next Goal Wins, what our message was to really just enjoy being alive and enjoy being kind of a little bit frivolous and human. Mm-hmm. So the best way to capture that really is through Pacific Island Indigenous everyday life. And for American Samoa and a lot of other Pacific Island communities, life is really simple, and it's about enjoying one another's company, about laughing, about eating good food, about kind of not having the complex baggage that the rest of the rest of us enjoy in these big multicultural city centres around the world, where we're just kind of here for the work. I mean, the amazing thing about village life in the South Pacific is that you are really, your only job is to feed your family and enjoy your life. There's no great quest for economic dominance.
I love what you're saying about Next Goal Wins, but I hate to ruin what you're saying, but I actually think it's a very profound message to know how to just have fun with other people and enjoy life. I think that's a very profound component, I think, in all of Taika's films.
I'm glad you recognize it.
Even when he's creating a story about the Holocaust, it's really a film about joy.
I think that's amazing that you can see that as a profound message, because it really is kind of buried in there so that an audience can appreciate that on a subconscious level. And we're also dealing with a few complex issues like transgender sports players, and what it means to be a visitor to a Pacific Island nation and not understand the cultural, spiritual nuances that are part of being in that Indigenous environment. So, there are complex messages that not all audience members will understand. It's still a worthwhile endeavour to make a enjoyable film that has heart.
Yeah. So let me ask you, Ra, as a production designer specifically, what's your history with Taika, and what do you enjoy about working with him as a director?
The really nice thing about working with Taika is that we're a similar age and we come from a similar background. We're raised kind of in a traditional New Zealand landscape. We're both Māori. We both come from families that didn't have as many opportunities as most others, and in a way, we've found ways of communicating through filmmaking that's given us, an opportunity to be creative and have a voice while, coming from a predominantly poorer demographic. And growing up in New Zealand, there aren't too many opportunities for young Māori. But if you're patient and you stick with your craft, if you find something that you're passionate about, you'll find people who you can share a kind of kindred journey with. We both have similar opinions on, the state of the world and how people should be behaving together because we both have a similar upbringing. So for storytelling, it's a bit of a shorthand, which we find quite helpful.
Well, it's a nice segue to my next question. What recommendations would you offer directors in terms of what to look for in a production designer? Because directors look for their person, their crew, their production designer specifically. What should a director look for?
Well, I think it is really that. It's about being able to communicate or feel that you have some familiar common ground. Because we all come from vastly different backgrounds, and unless you can communicate effectively to somebody who doesn't have the same experiences as you, you'll never be able to convey an idea effectively. So I think people who just make you laugh, or who you feel comfortable around, or who kind of have the same energetic approach to life as yourself is important, because you not only working together, but you also need to be able to enjoy one another's company. Because sharing of ideas really only happens in a safe, comfortable relationship.
Yeah, that's very well said. Yeah, you gotta be able to laugh together, or like, why are you even doing it? So, besides your sense of humor, what makes you a really great production designer, which you clearly
That's
are?
very sweet. I think one of my strongest assets in my production design career is having the ability to enjoy the creative contributions that my crew bring to production design. No single person can achieve any of this alone, and without those really great artisans, technicians who are backing you up, it's all impossible. It's all just ideas. Ideas are fine, but if they don't have the input from your entire crew, then you're kind of just an ideas person, and that can only go so far. I really actually put most of my success down to to the amazing abilities of the people around me.
That's very sweet of you.
It's true.
Ra, I'll ask you one last question, because I know you're in the middle of a scout, and we should let you go. My last question to you is, if I'm not mistaken, and correct me if I'm wrong, you started out creating sculptures for Lord of the Rings. Is that right?
Yeah,
Is that where you
I
began?
worked. I worked as a scenic backdrop artist and sculptor for my father, who was
Oh,
worked in the industry, and I joined him
oh,
at that
interesting.
level.
So you were creating sculptures for your dad.
Yeah, who worked in a lot of advertising mostly,
Oh,
and then I joined the LOTR crew.
got it. And the rest is history. So my question to you is, what if you got to have a conversation with you, 25 years ago, or you as a 20-year-old, what advice would you give him?
There's really no hurry. You don't have to. You don't have to achieve everything straight away, and take a little bit of time for yourself to enjoy the process, because this is a lifelong endeavor. And if you apply yourself slowly but steadily, you'll make your dreams come true.
Ra, thank you so much for meeting with me and also for many years of really hard work. You clearly don't shy
So,
away from very hard work, and the results are on the screen, and the rest of us get to enjoy your work. So thank you for all that. Any last final words that you want to say before we close?
no, Ella, it's been really an amazing journey, and I count myself very lucky to be involved with
Mhm.
this community of creative people. So, thank you for supporting that.
Thank you, Ra. You've subscribed to my channel. You love these videos. It's time for that 90-minute masterclass where I help you eliminate writing blocks and arrive at your best screenplays. Join me at theindependentfilmschool.com. Link is below, and I'll invite you to my training. It is absolutely free. I'll see you there.